For tens of thousands of years, they walked across a frozen world. Vast herds moving slowly through open plains beneath skies colder and clearer than anything we know today. Woolly mammoths were not rare creatures clinging to survival. They were dominant, numerous, and essential. They shaped the Ice Age landscape with every step, carving paths through snow, breaking frozen ground, and sustaining a world built for giants. This was their age. And then, within a surprisingly short span of time, they were gone. Not fading gradually into legend, but disappearing from nearly every continent where they once ruled. The question is not whether the mammoths vanished. The question is why a world designed to support giants suddenly could not. At the height of the last ice age, mammoths thrived across a biome scientists call the Mammoth Steppe. During the Ice Age, a vast cold, dry grassland spread across the northern continents. This was not a land of endless ice sheets. It was wide, windswept, and surprisingly productive. Thick grasses, flowering plants, and hardy shrubs fed enormous animals adapted perfectly to cold and scarcity. Mammoths were keystone species in this system. Their grazing kept forests from spreading. Their movement packed snow, helping grasses survive winter. Their dung fertilized the soil, sustaining plant growth across vast distances. For tens of thousands of years, this ecosystem remained stable, even as ice advanced and retreated. Then the climate began to change. Around 20,000 years ago, the Ice Age slowly started to loosen its grip. Glaciers retreated unevenly. Temperatures rose, not smoothly, but in irregular pulses. Winters grew wetter. Snow lingered longer into spring. Grasslands began to shrink as forests expanded northward. For animals built for open, dry plains, this shift was destabilizing. Mammoths could endure extreme cold. What they struggled with was moisture. Wet snow clung to their fur. Ice crusts formed over grasses, blocking access to food. Calves faced higher mortality. Herds were forced to travel farther to find suitable grazing, burning more energy in an increasingly unpredictable world. Still, climate alone did not wipe them out. Mammoths had survived warming periods before. This time, something else was entering their world. Humans. By the time mammoth populations were under stress, humans were spreading rapidly across northern continents. They were skilled hunters, organized and adaptable. Evidence shows humans hunted mammoths, though likely not constantly or everywhere. A single mammoth could feed a group for weeks. Spears, coordinated attacks, and knowledge of migration routes gave humans an advantage no previous predator had possessed. Crucially, humans did not need to kill every mammoth. In slow-breeding animals, the loss of even a small number of adults each generation can prevent recovery. As climate reduced suitable habitat, mammoth populations became fragmented into smaller, isolated groups. These isolated herds meant less genetic diversity, fewer mating opportunities, and increased vulnerability to disease and extreme weather. The Ice Age world was no longer one vast, connected steppe. It was breaking apart into shrinking refuges. Then came abrupt climate shocks. Periods such as the Younger Dryas brought sudden returns to colder conditions, followed by rapid warming once again. These swings disrupted ecosystems already under strain. Plant communities shifted ranges faster than mammoths could follow. Water sources changed. Migration corridors vanished beneath forests, lakes, and melting ice. What had once been predictable became unstable. By the time humans reached the last refuges where mammoths survived, such as parts of Siberia and isolated Arctic islands, the animals were already struggling. On Wrangel Island, mammoths survived thousands of years longer than elsewhere, cut off from human hunters and mainland changes. But isolation carried its own cost. Genetic evidence shows signs of inbreeding, declining health, and reduced resilience. Eventually, even these final populations collapsed. The mammoths did not fall to a single catastrophe. They were undone by a convergence of forces, a warming climate that reshaped their world, human expansion that prevented recovery, fragmented habitats that reduced resilience, and ecological systems that no longer favored giants. Their disappearance marks more than the loss of a species. It marks the end of an Ice Age way of life. a world where enormous animals maintained vast open landscapes, a world tuned to cold stability rather than rapid change. When the mammoths vanished, the mammoth steppe vanished with them. Forests spread, new ecosystems took hold, and humans became the dominant shapers of the land. The Ice Age did not end in a single dramatic collapse. It unraveled, and in that unraveling, the giants of the frozen world were the first to fall. What remains today are frozen remains in permafrost, paintings on ancient stone walls, and a question preserved in the bones of the past. Not just what killed the mammoths, but what happens to a world when its giants disappear. Like and subscribe for more of the Lost Earth Chronicles.